You know who else really got better in that division? The Washington Capitals.
Yes, buddy. There's no team that made more moves than the Capitals here in the offseason. Oh my goodness. I'll give them credit. They're like, we're not rebuilding. We're going to try to retool on the fly. They lost guys they traded away Kuznetsov. They lost Backstrom due to career-ending injuries. They're getting older, but they brought in some guys who are legit NHL players. Now, you and I were kind of on the same page. I like the bet of Pierre-Luc Dubois. I just, there's not many.
That's the only question mark I have. I'm not as sold on that. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just saying I didn't love the risk profile of what if it doesn't work.
Yeah, I guess if it doesn't work, I just look and say, like, what if it doesn't work? He scores you 60 points. Like, that's not terrible. Like, if you look at his 5-on-5 scoring in LA, it was kind of the same. It's just he didn't get any power play time. He'll get power play time in Washington. There's no question. So I think I won't be surprised at all if Dubois is at the low end, 60 points. I would put him at the low end. Granted, he's healthy at the low end. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's a 75-point player next year. I know that's still not great 8.5 value yet. But if he has 1 year like that, I think it'll kind of regain his confidence. Dubois and Ovechkin and Wilson and Dylan Strome. I like Connor McMichael. They kind of got a combination there with some of their young guys coming up, right? Mangiapane, I have to think is a player who's going to be desperate to prove himself. It's a final year of his contract, and I thought when he signed it, he was never going to really live up to it. But then you throw in Hendrix Lapierre, they've got some skill across their top 9 in Washington.
I love what they did on the back end. I thought that Jakob Chychrun trade was the move of the offseason. Someone's going to need to explain that to me from an Ottawa perspective. I don't understand it at all. And I've had a week to think about it, and I still can't wrap my brain around it. This is a guy that a couple years ago, though, a first and 2 seconds. Yeah. How Nick Jensen, like, I understand you're trading left shot for right shot and you're always going to be at a disadvantage, but that's the best deal you could make for Jakob Chychrun. There's no way that's the best deal they could possibly make.
I think they went out at Nick Jensen is a really good defender, Frank, and the Ottawa Senators have stunk defending. And so they might have over wagered on it. I think that's fair.
He's almost 8 years older.
Oh, hey, I don't disagree.
I don't understand. He's on hole 16 of his career. Jakob Chychrun's he's on hole 6.
Yeah.
I don't. Well, he hasn't even gotten to the halfway house yet.
Yeah,
like someone needs to explain this to me.
Well, I think it's also looking ahead. Chychrun's 1 year away from UFA. He's probably going to jump up to 7, 8, maybe, depending on how
7.5.
Yeah, like they just couldn't afford him either. I think it's a little bit of that, right?
But somebody else could have afforded him. Nick Jensen gotten for that echelon of defensemen.
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't understand it. I'm sorry. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay. So you're not loving Ottawa's offseason?
No. And look, let's finish off the Washington part of it, because you get Chychrun and then you go out and you sign one of his best friends in Brandon Duhaime. That's a pretty good enticement to try and keep Chychrun. Two Florida kids who played for the Junior Panthers growing up. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And a cool story. I was around the Chychruns and the Duhaimes in Stockholm when the Wild and the Sens were there, and two just super close friends that first started playing together when they were 8 years old in South Florida. Pretty cool to see them be reunited. So I love that part of it. And then we didn't even talk about Roy, who I was saying all along might be the signing of the summer, depending on his term and dollars. And it's certainly not cheap. But you mentioned Nick Jensen being a defender. And I love the way Nick Jensen absorbs the forecheck. Like, don't get me wrong. It's important to your team. but Matt Roy is the stud. He was the stud defender class. And the Caps got him too. Like I think the Caps improved in almost every area. And when you take a look at where they're heading in net, I'm sure at some point there's going to be a Charlie Lindgren extension, but they're really well positioned, I think, for now and to kind of stretch into the future. I think the Caps added 10 plus points to their season total in the offseason.
Yeah, well, Lindgren, and then Logan Thompson's solid NHL goaltender. So look at his cap hit for this season. It's obviously quite a bit lower than Darcy Kemper's. So that I know that wasn't a direct trade, but you trade Kemper away to get Dubois, and then you add in Logan Thompson in that deal. I don't mind their offseason at all. I think in the East, Washington and New Jersey, now they're when you're a team that has room to grow, it is easier to improve, no question. But those two teams probably have improved the most in the East, I would say, in the offseason.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Seravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.